So today we are going to be reviewing caption writing. Now we know that captions are the most common type of copy or text in a yearbook, so it's really important that we get these captions right. Captions need to engage the audience and also give the backstory behind a photo. But really, more importantly, we also need to be consistent because we have 15 students in this class and they're all going to be working on different pages. And so we all need to be writing our captions the exact same way so that it appears as though one person wrote and put together this entire yearbook. So with that, we are going to be reviewing captions today. Most of this isn't new, but I am going to show you some examples and how to fix some of the common mistakes that we make with captions. The caption we've been working with most in this class is the expanded caption, or as I sometimes call it, the 3-sentence caption. And this caption is really the bread and butter of caption writing because it provides the most specific, most detailed information. It's almost like a mini story. And the model that I gave you to use for this caption was the ABC model of caption writing. And I'm actually going to add a letter to that, so the ABCQ model. So first we have the first sentence of the caption, and this contains your action lead, which is the A, and then also your basic information, which is the B. So the action lead, the purpose of that is to introduce your caption with something other than a person's name, because it gets very boring when we begin every caption with, Senior Kelly Tata or Senior Amy Johnson. It's just boring, and so action leads help to add some flavor to the yearbook. Basic information, really this just means that your first sentence of your caption needs to be giving, the who, what, where, when of the photo, and it's just describing the picture. That's all the first sentence is doing, is describing the action taking place in the photo. After that, we move into the second and possibly also the third sentence, and that's where you get your complementary information. So this complementary information is background or additional information that isn't absolutely crucial to our understanding of what's going on in the picture. So if you're writing a caption about a sporting event, this would be, the outcome of the game or maybe the other people involved or something like that. After that, we move into the last sentence, and this is pretty much always going to be a quote and attribution. So we talked about last class, make sure that you end on a quote. It's just a great way to end a caption. And that's also where this Q comes into play. That's why I added the Q to the ABC model. So just a reminder about the attribution, we always say name and then the word said. We would never say said and then someone's name. And we're going to look at that as we go into some examples on the next couple of slides. Here we have an example of an effective expanded caption, and this caption can actually be found on page 14 of the 2015-16 Sacred Heart Yearbook. First, we have the mini caption headline, and it says Senior Speaks Out. So it gives us a bit of a hint as to what this caption is going to be about. It says, standing before dozens of Louisville high school students, Senior Kendall Baumrucker speaks about body image and self-esteem. So first we have that action lead, standing before dozens of Louisville high school students. We don't start with someone's name, so that's good. And then we just get the basic information. We know the photo is of Senior Kendall Baumrucker, and we know that in the photo she's talking to a group of students about body image and self-esteem. After that, we move into the complementary information, so that's sentence number 2. Baumrucker was one of several who planned October's Confidence Walk in hopes of sharing an important message with teens. So now we're getting some background information about, the fact that she planned this event in advance, what event she's at, and what her goal is. And then finally, we end with a quote. It says, body image is something almost all teenage girls have struggled with at some point, Baumrucker said. My goal was to help girls learn how to gain confidence in themselves. So as you can see, it says Baumrucker said, not said Baumrucker. So this caption is pretty effective. It's definitely a good model to follow. Now that we've seen an effective caption, we're going to look at 3 captions that could somehow be improved. So the first one is about the photo of Kelly swimming at the Louisville Swim Association Championship meet. So this caption, the headline is "Swim, Swam, Swum." So it's kind of a cute little mini headline to preface what this caption is about. It says, even after leaving the pool, senior Kelly Tata will never forget the lessons she learned on the Lake Forest swim team. Now, right off the bat, we have a couple of problems. We do have an action lead, so that is good, even after leaving the pool. But this first sentence really doesn't describe the photo and what's going on in the photo. It says Kelly Tata will never forget the lessons she learned. It's a little bit cliche, this idea of lessons learned. It's just overdone. It's a bit trite. Next, we need to lowercase swim team. We don't capitalize athletic team names. And also, let's look at this next sentence. It says, Tata took 13th in the 100-meter freestyle during the Louisville Swim Association Division I Championship meet on July 16th, 2016. 13th, if you look at your AP style guide, should always be written out. You want to avoid superscripts or subscripts. However, this second sentence is good because it gives us that complementary information. We find out, what the result was of the race that Kelly was about to swim. After that, we go into the final part of our caption, which is the quote, and it says, I added time in the 100 free, but honestly, it didn't matter to me, Tata said after her race. I did my best, and that's all that matters. Over here, that comma needs to go in the quotation marks, and then we can delete after her race. We just really don't need that. It's kind of obvious, and remember that caption writing is all about being concise and to the point. So other than that, I think this caption is pretty good. One last thing that I want to point out is that we always hyphenate 100 meter because that is a compound adjective describing the freestyle. The second caption says, after getting her wisdom teeth removed the day before, Sacred Heart senior Kelly Tata reads, I am Malala during her summer vacation. I am Malala tells the story of a young woman shot by the Taliban and was selected as the 2016 Sacred Heart summer reading novel. I think it's a really incredible story, Tata said. It definitely put things into perspective for me. So this caption is pretty good. It follows that ABCQ model. But there are a couple things we need to fix. The first thing is that we're missing a mini headline. And then after that, when we get into the first sentence, it's really not necessary to say Sacred Heart Senior. This is the Sacred Heart yearbook, so we know that she's a senior at Sacred Heart. Also, I am Malala. That book title should be italicized, not in quotation marks. Moving on down, you might notice that we do have some passive voice here, was selected. We don't know who is doing the selecting, and normally we wouldn't want passive voice. But in this case, if you're not sure who selected the book, or if it's not important that your reader knows who selected the book, then you might be able to get away with passive voice. So we're just going to leave that for now. Lastly, let's look at the quote. It says, I think it's a really incredible story, Tata said. We need a period there after Tata said. You always put a period there. And then, of course, we'll want to capitalize it. Other than that, it looks pretty good. We follow that ABCQ model, and so it's a fairly effective caption. This last caption has the mini headline, Frozen Peas and Good Reads. So it's kind of cute. It lets us know what we're about to get into. It says, icing her cheeks with a bag of peas, senior Kelly Tata peruses I Am Malala during her summer vacation. It definitely put things into perspective for me, reflected Tata. How can I complain about something as trivial as my wisdom teeth when Malala has been through so much? So if we're looking at this, the first thing I notice is that in that first sentence, it never tells us that Kelly got her wisdom teeth removed. We don't know why she's icing her cheeks with a bag of peas. We don't even find that out until right here at the bottom when it talks about her wisdom teeth. So that definitely needs to be something in the first sentence of the caption. Also, If you look at this word peruses, that's just a little bit too much for caption writing or really for news writing. We want to say things in the simplest way possible, and so peruses might not be the best verb to choose. Next, you'll notice that we are missing that second sentence with the complementary information, so this caption really would be a lot more effective if we had another sentence before we got into the quote. Looking at the quote, you'll see that we have this word reflected. It says reflected data. And again, remember this is news writing, so we want to be concise, we want to be to the point, and that's why we always use the word said. So it should be said data. And actually, that is the wrong order, as I discussed earlier in the video. It should be data said, period. So we'd want to change both of those things. And then lastly, of course, this question mark should go inside the quotation marks. Other than that, if you made all those changes, then this caption would probably be pretty effective. So with that, I hope that this video helped you in your caption writing. Remember that the expanded caption is really, really crucial as we begin putting together the yearbook. So take some time to go back over the captions that you read for homework and make sure that they adhere to all of the rules and different techniques that we've talked about today.